What's going on, everybody? We are back with a podcast. Let you guys doing a little break on the regular channel, but I wanted to definitely do a special podcast today. By the way, this is the Fantasy Couch Podcast, aka CouchCast. My name's Hussein the Brain, and today we have a very special guest, Grant Caraway of First Down Training. What's up, man?
How you doing? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
So, like, what's your like regular day as far as football goes? You watching film? You're just enjoying it. You're doing one-on-one training sessions. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so during the week it's a lot of it's just breaking down film, just trying to get, a greater knowledge of the game, just always trying to improve. And then usually in the afternoon, because a lot of my clients are mostly in high school. So wait for them to get out of school and then it's trained from probably 4 o'clock to about 6. And then on the weekends it's probably from like 8 in the morning till like 3 in the afternoon, just training constantly, and then take a little bit of a break on the weekends. But yeah, it's pretty much basic day in the life.
So, like, when you're watching NFL or you watch college too. So
Yeah,
when you watch NFL or college, do you kind of like, oh man, look at that guy, look at that wide receiver's get off, look at his footwork, look at how he is from the line of scrimmage, or do you see like, oh, look at this guy's blocking, he's garbage, or you see stuff like, are you that kind of guy, with the
yeah. I mean,
technique, like you see that you're like, wow, or this guy sucks.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of the fun part for me. Like, I don't really like watching football too much with people who are like that, I guess. But I guess I am that way. I more so like watching with just casual fans, because like I don't know, because I guess I could teach them something about it. But that pretty much describes me pretty
I mean,
well.
at least it's going on in your head.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Most so with quarterback and receiver than anything.
Quarterback and receiver. Okay. So by the way, guys, we are live right now on YouTube, and you guys, it's always better live. So make sure you guys are on the Fantasy Couch Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit that bell icon. We got the live chat going on. I know a lot of people are at work right now, but I definitely wanted to have Grant on. Hype Beast is in the building. What's up, man? He says, "What's up, Brain?" So yeah, it's just me, you, and Grant. Hype Beast in the chat right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat, and Grant and I will try to answer. So let's talk about, like, I kind of wanted you on because you're gonna give another perspective, and we're always looking for an edge in fantasy football, and
Mhm.
circumstance is probably one of the biggest factors on a team. Like, I guess, I don't know why, but Chris Carson pops up into my head as like one example. Like, Seahawks had no blocking in 2017, zero block, like the worst line, the worst blocking, and they
Yeah.
didn't run the ball. Russell Wilson was the lead rusher, and then 2018, they're running all the time. And Russell Wilson plays great, but not necessarily fantasy wise, because he doesn't have to
Yeah.
do as much. And they're running a ton. And it was mostly the Chris Carson show. The two other backs were involved. But um, I have you on to see if we can, if we can't, we don't want to force it, but if we can find some diamonds in the rough, you're like, man, this guy has great technique. He's amazing. If he just had a quarterback, he can, get more receiving yards. Or if they just got, improve their O line, they can do this. Or if this guy's drafted in this situation, he can be really good. So that's kind of why I wanted you on. And also, I find it interesting. If we can find some guys who have really good technique or some guys who are overrated, and just want to know your opinion. So, the draft, like, what are your thoughts about this year's draft?
A lot of pass rushers, that's for sure. But I'm excited mostly about quarterback position, because that's what I played in high school, a little bit in college, and I don't know. I'm excited to see who goes off first. I think it'll probably be somebody like Nick Bosa or Josh Allen first. But I'm excited to see where the quarterbacks fall later in the first round. Definitely.
I just don't see a scenario where the Cardinals don't draft Kyler Murray. It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense because like I don't watch a ton of college. I'm not a draft expert. I have people like you on and other people that help me. I still end up being good. Like this guy, we have a Facebook group. You should join our Facebook group if you want. Fantasy Couch
definitely.
Fam. It's a great community. That's what it's called. So this guy was like, man, I'm looking at these prop bets on the draft, and which bet should I? He's like, should I take this? I was like, here's a bet: 1-12. Baker Mayfield gets drafted first overall. I'm like, he's the best quarterback. I was like, I think it should be 1-8, but it's 1-12. I was like, I think the Browns will get him. And but this is like before he was slated to go number one, so it sounded a little bit crazy talk. But I ended up being right, and I was like, because you just gotta like don't overthink it. Maybe that's something the Browns have been doing for over 10 years. But last year, bro, they did not overthink it. Even Denzel Ward I was wrong on that. Like, that was a great draft pick. They crushed it on that. Yeah. So they go Baker Mayfield, hands down the best quarterback in the draft. They get him. They crush it. Then they go Denzel Ward. They don't overthink this stuff. And I think the coach loves Kyler Murray. And 100%. And I hate Josh Rosen. So Josh Rosen was number 5 out of those top 5 last year. Like, I like Lamar Jackson. I was like, is Lamar Jackson number 3 or number 4? Like, it was tough to really figure out. But I was like, I thought Sam Darnold was number 2 and Baker was 1. But man, that was I think does Josh Rosen suck?
I don't think he sucks. I can't say anything about Josh because I used to train with him.
Oh, you trained with the guy I hated on? Oh, man. You trained with Josh Rosen.
I get it. But Josh is an interesting guy. He's got a very interesting mind. I think he's just got super high football IQ. And he didn't have a good year, and a lot of people are going to agree with you, and you say he sucks. I think give him another chance. I don't know if Kingsbury takes Murray number 1. That's a good fit. If Murray gets into a system like that, that's going to be huge because he can play. It's just there's like the height thing isn't even a factor. He can play, especially in today's NFL. He can 100% play. If he's in a Kingsbury system, that's dangerous.
Well, I think actually sexier fit would be Kyler Murray on the Giants, and I hate that they're I don't know why I got Foles penciled in going to Jacksonville, and that's what other people thought like I had that penciled in ages ago, as soon as like before Alshon Jeffrey dropped that pass in the playoffs, I had him penciled. He's going to the Jags. But Kyler Murray, think about this. This is just insane. This is Madden. This is throwing the controller at the Madden game type insanity. Saquon, Kyler, and Odell. And I'm not. I didn't even think. And then you have those other guys who are Sterling Shepard's solid. I think he just, in the right situation, he's a solid wide receiver. And then even Ingram, who's like this freakish tight end, didn't have a great year last year, but he had a great rookie year. He's good. He's a wide receiver, with the tight end designation. That would be crazy. And the quarterback, okay, we all know the quarterback's the most important position as far as, franchise. What I really want, the quarterback affects the game the most out of any position, 100%. Yeah. Do you think that's been elevated recently? Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
even more so than before.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think I don't think you can win with an average quarterback. That's just look at the 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, arguably probably the greatest of all time. And then you got Jared Goff, 2 franchise players. I just don't think you can win with an average quarterback. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, totally agree. And also, it's been this guy made a video that made me mad. It triggered me. I don't get triggered much, but it's like Eli Manning hasn't fallen off, and he had some good. That's the title of the video, and it was actually he proved some points. But the point I'm making is if Eli Manning was just as good as he was around those Super Bowl era and stuff, that means he sucks, because the times have changed. You're not gonna go out there and crush it. Like you can make the playoffs with a Super Bowl Eli Manning. You can do good. but you're not going
Yeah.
to kill it with the old Eli Manning. It's a
100%.
different game because now Aaron Rodgers may not be the best quarterback. That's insane. Like Aaron Rodgers used to be like a phenom. Now you
Oh
have
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes who could be Aaron Rodgers 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not like just trying like just use your eyes. Like he plays the same way as Aaron Rodgers, has stronger arm, and when he rolls out faster than Aaron Rodgers, and he does way cooler no look behind the back, whatever he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like, and not, still, we still got to watch him because we only seen Patrick Mahomes play like 20 games, but it's definitely changed. The game has been elevated. We have a few more people here. What's up, Ryan? Fresh Ballers in the building. Fresh Baller, I believe, is in my Dynasty League and wants me to trade him Patrick Mahomes. No way, bud. I drafted Patrick Mahomes, I had the first overall pick. Saquon Barkley, first overall. I don't care what the ranking said. And it's my first year doing Dynasty last year. And then I drafted George Kittle. And I'm not going to lie, George Kittle was definitely the one where I was like, I feel like it's a good value for him. And I'm a Niner fan, but I took a risk. Like, it was just, I had to pick him, Like, it was at that point. And Patrick Mahomes a little bit. Like, I really wanted Patrick Mahomes, but he also fell a little bit. I'm like, dude, I'm like, come on. I'm definitely drafting Patrick Mahomes. And Saquon was the guy. I was like, number one pick, I'm definitely drafting Saquon. So this guy wants me to give him Patrick Mahomes. So Non-Hype B says, do you see Kyler Murray going top 5? I don't think he's worth a number 1 pick. And while you're talking, Grant, I'm gonna bring up the draft order and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I think if he doesn't go number 1, he won't go top 5. I think top 5 it'll probably be number 1, if anything, and only because it's Kingsbury. I don't know if he's a top 5 pick. I see him ending up, like you said, either in New York, but I could see Haskins going there as well. New York, Miami, or probably Jacksonville, but they have Nick Foles, right? So,
well, Nick Foles slated to go there. We don't know.
Yeah,
Let's just say 60% chance he goes there, just to throw out a number.
Yeah. I think New York would be great because he's got star power. You know what I mean? He's a guy that you bring in a lot of people, and I think the Giants need that right now. I mean, obviously they're in New York, so they still got a high market. But if you bring in Kyler Murray, Saquon Barkley, like we talked about, I don't know if the Cardinals take him number 1 because they spent a lot of money on Josh Rosen. So I don't think he's a top 5 pick.
So, man, here's the thing is, like, I don't know why, but I'm infatuated with my 49ers picking Nick Bosa. I feel like it's going to happen. This is the guy I want. I mean, if they don't go Kyler Murray, like, I mean, I guess they could go Josh Allen, right? Wouldn't they go Nick Bosa if they don't go?
Yeah. What pick do they have?
So, okay, so number 1, Cardinals, number 2, 49ers, number 3, Jets, 4, Raiders, 5, Bucks, 6, Giants.
Yeah, I think if you don't go Nick Bosa, if it were me, I would pick Josh Allen. I'm a huge fan of that guy. He's just one of those locker room guys. He's a leader, and he would control the whole defensive side of the ball. I'm a huge fan of Josh Allen. He's confident. He's just like a prototype linebacker. He's what you would look for, an outside linebacker coming off the edge, pass rusher. Huge fan of Josh Allen. I don't know about Nick Bosa. I'm on the fence.
You like Allen more than Bosa. That sounds.
Yeah, I do.
I really like Quinnen Williams. I feel like he's very comparable to Aaron Donald, and I feel like that's the easy one to compare it to. But I heard someone on NFL Network comparing to Albert Haynesworth in his prime, and I like that. I think that's an even better comparison. Are you huge on Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle?
I like him. He's a bull, man. He'll make pretty much just any play. He's a great pass rusher. He's got great hands. So I'm high on him. I don't really think there's a whole lot of downside. I mean, he can fight off a double team well. I saw him get double teamed I don't know how many times this year, and he fought it off. So I'm big on him too.
No, I really like Quinnen Williams. So, man, I just, I don't know. I think I really want Nick Bosa on my Niners. So how would you rank the 3 quarterbacks? Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins, and who's the third guy? I don't even know. Nick Locke? What's his name? What's his
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
Yeah, so I'd probably go. I think you got to go Haskins one. I think I just think he's more of like, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough between Haskins and Murray, but I think I'm gonna go Haskins one, Murray two, and then Lock three. I like Lock too though. Lock's he's similar to Mahomes. He's not gonna make the plays like Mahomes would, but he's athletic. He's got a freaking pop off of his arm. He gets rid of the ball so quick.
So a fresh baller. We're here with Grant Caraway with First Down Training. He trains football players, mostly focusing on wide receivers and quarterbacks, and just bringing us a different perspective. And the guy just so happens to play fantasy football too, so I think that's pretty cool. What did you have a good year last year?
No, I got screwed with Le'Veon.
Oh, the Le'Veon, yeah.
God, that was just a bad idea. I should have went Gurley, but.
But
because I think I had the first pick.
A lot of if you were able to not be busy or pull over while driving and pick up James Conner, you would have been okay. But
I know, yeah.
A lot of people weren't able to swoop up on James Conner. Yeah, we underestimated that. Le'Veon Bell missing out on about $833,000 per game. A lot of people thought he wouldn't do that. It's just too much money, but I mean, I respect the decision. He just kind of bugged me how he went about it, but I mean, that's his decision. Like I get it.
Yeah. Doesn't make
you wouldn't pass it. You wouldn't pass up on $833,000 a week.
No. It's so, get traded after the season and crest the trade after.
Yeah, it's so much. It's so much money, and I forgot if it was Keyshawn Johnson. So one of these guys was like, take the money and fake an injury. And I'm like, wow, that's a definitely sexy idea. It's not right, but I mean, it is a dirty business, and that's a lot of money. I think
gotta do what you gotta do.
I think James Conner was making like $700,000 the whole year or something, or something less than something like basically one game check was what James Conner was making the whole year. And it's like,
that's crazy.
But
he had like a disease, right, in college?
Yeah, he had cancer.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's an awesome story.
Yeah, and he's doing pretty well in the NFL. Definitely a good, if you were able to pick him up, definitely a good one. So I posted something on social media, what team Le'Veon Bell's going to go to. I got, in order of what's most likely, Jets, Colts, Bucks, Bills, Texans, Eagles, Raiders. And I think the Texans want to get rid of Lamar Miller. So
that could be a place for him.
Yeah, the Colts is like, I'm just not with paying running backs. And
I mean, Gurley's the first one to get legit money.
And then came David Johnson, who got less, I believe, but this bridge, I really wanted to ask you about this. So like Le'Veon Bell, he's asking for a lot of money. Do you think it's worth? And you may not like look at the cap space a lot and whatnot, but still, you know about this. Mm-hmm. You think it's worth paying up for a running back? Like, let's say you really love Le'Veon Bell, you had him as maybe the best ranked running back in the league, or at least top three. Do you think it's worth paying up and allocating cap space for a guy like Le'Veon Bell?
I do. I mean, I think he's a game changer. Like, every time he touches the ball, it's something dynamic is going to happen. Like, you're kind of holding your breath almost to see what kind of play he's going to make when he's playing, obviously. But I think just because he could catch, he could run, he's so patient in the backfield. It's just he can hit. He's just so patient, and he finds holes like nobody else. I think it's worth it. Definitely worth it. Pay the man.
Now, I think he's great, and there's no doubt about it. And when he gets the ball, like I hear the people that tell me he's good, he's not that great, I think are just crazy. Like every time he gets the ball, he does these things where like he doesn't get touched sometimes. It's so weird. Kamara's like totally different type of back, but Kamara has like a weird type of ability too, where he doesn't take the big hit. and I seen Le'Veon Bell like run through like 7 people and like like maybe a small fabric of their glove or their jersey barely touches him. It's like a very weird style, and he's big too. He can have some power too,
I know.
which people
Yeah.
don't say. But I have to completely disagree with paying up for a running back. You can spend a draft pick on a running back. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem
yeah.
with. You know what I said? I said if I was the Cleveland Browns, I would have taken Saquon number 1. And that was wrong. I was wrong. You got to take the quarterback there. But that's how much I like Saquon. I don't have a problem with teams taking a running back at number 4 overall. Zeke was a great example. Gurley, good example. But that's like 20 million or whatever it is, which you pay
Yeah,
him.
it's not 100.
Yeah,
It's not
and
100
so
million.
I completely disagree with that. I mean, you definitely need a quarterback nowadays.
Yeah.
You need other positions. And when you got a quarterback, you probably need an O-line. Look what the Colts did. I love how the Colts built their interior O-line. Brady, I didn't know if his O-line would hold up. It seemed like his interior was pretty good. I mean, if it wasn't, he couldn't have won a Super Bowl. And
True.
I think you don't pay up that much. Now Le'Veon and Luck would be sexy. That would be nasty.
Yeah, true.
That would be
True.
nasty because you have so many. Luck can make anything happen, and then you have Le'Veon, who's like another receiver, just adds another element to the game. Defenses will be so tired; they'd be so frustrated. I mean, you wouldn't know what to do, and then. I mean, they'll somehow be able to get a good backup too in case Le'Veon needs a breather or they need some power running. They have Nyheim Hines, who's a great receiver, like incredible receiver, and Marlon Mack. I thought he wasn't good, but proved me wrong. Again, he's a good back, not great, but he's a good back. So that's why I don't like a team like the Colts. I don't like paying up so much for a running back. I feel like because of the cap space. If there was no cap space, I don't really care. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I just feel like you need to spend up on other positions. Fresh Baller says Ed Oliver so he disagrees with me about who did I say? Quinnen Williams says Ed Oliver is the next Aaron Donald. Falcons are gonna get Oliver.
I mean, Oliver's good. I haven't really seen too much of his film, so I'm kind of I don't know if I could really speak on it. But I'm a huge Quinnen Williams guy. I've watched a lot of his films, so I can speak on him, and I think he's just super dynamic. That's just my 2 cents on it. I think he's just double teamed because I think he's more like Aaron Donald because Aaron Donald gets double teamed every single game. Like every single game, you're double teaming Aaron Donald. And Quinnen Williams was that way when he was at Alabama. Every single time they would double team him, and somehow, some way, he would find a way to get to the quarterback, or he would play the run. So that's my opinion. But I haven't seen too much film on Ed Oliver.
Yeah, I've seen some film on Quinnen Williams, and I'm very, very impressed. Okay, so let me see who else I got. I want to talk about. Talked about Nick Bosa. What about? Are you worried about injuries at all, or did you not think about that? They said Nick Bosa could be injury prone.
Yeah, I don't really believe in that whole like he's injury prone because like you get a guy who's never been injured in college and then he comes to the pros and then he gets injured, then he's done. So I don't think he's injury prone. I think that's a concern, definitely, but I don't think that should be a word.
Yeah, we don't have. Well, I think in some cases it may be true, but it has to be like almost irrefutable proof.
Yeah.
Like something has to be like something really has to stand out to me that this guy's injury prone. I feel like because he suffered 2 injuries in college, that's not gonna affect me drafting him. I don't think at all. I mean, it's not gonna affect because he's going like top 3, right? So I don't think it's going to make a difference between me going like, all right, I would draft him too, but now, it's too high. I mean, the highest I draft him is 3 because of the injuries. So realistically, not like it would affect me like less than 1%. And that's not enough for me to push, someone from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3. I'd still draft him.
I agree.
And we talked about Josh Allen. You like him. It's kind of your number 1 guy then maybe in the draft.
Josh. Yeah, I just think like there's something you look for like from a quarterback perspective. Like I played quarterback and I freaking hate defensive linemen. But the guy that you don't want to get hit by, the guy that you don't want to play against, who's he's gonna pop you and he's good, he's gonna get to the quarterback. That's for me, that's Josh Allen. Just 100%. He's a guy, if I'm taking snaps and I see him on the other side of me, he's a guy that I don't really want to see. You know what I mean?
So you're saying if my Niners don't get Bosa, let's say the Cardinals draft Bosa, I should be very happy with Josh
Oh yeah.
Allen. Are you
100%.
familiar with the Niners? They have
A little
they have
bit. I like
they have a bunch
like
of
Gronk.
interior defensive linemen and no edge rush.
He'd
Just
be
to sum it
perfect. Yeah.
just to sum it up for you, what's going on? Because they got
Yeah.
DeForest Buckner, absolute beast. Oh man, I suck at names, so I don't know why I got this job, but it just people like listening to me. And then we drafted the Mitchell Trubisky draft when
Yeah.
they drafted another interior lineman. I can't. God, Jonathan some South. Ah man, I can't remember his name. They drafted another guy who was an absolute beast, and he hasn't. He's still young. This is going to be his third year coming up, I think. So see how he works out. But we got DeForest Buckner, absolute beast interior lineman, just no edge rush. And I think the Rams kind of realized that too, and that's why they got that player from the Jaguars, who they get, like Dante Fowler, whoever that was. And I love that traded for an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Because
you need a dynamic edge rusher.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just do, because it's and this is one way I kind of look at it. On the D line, or you can include outside linebackers in 3-4. You need two.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just do it with one. And I think we saw that with Von Miller one year. After the Super Bowl, they got rid of all those linemen. Maybe they weren't as good as we thought, but they were still good. And you just can't do it with Von Miller. Here's a better example. You just can't do it with Khalil Mack on the Raiders.
Yeah.
That was their only player on defense. You can't do it with one play. And they're like, he's great. Sometimes he's inconsistent. Like, yeah, no crap. Like, he's human. Like, you expect the dude to go crazy every single play when you're going to lose by, 24 points. It's like, it's nuts. It's like banging your head into a wall. So,
a good example is the Bears, how good their defense was this year.
Defense, they got everything. I love Eddie Jackson, the safety. They got good corners. They already had a solid defense. It's just their offense sucked so much that it affected their defense. And then they added Khalil Mack. Yeah, it made it great. I feel like defenses have changed though. Like, you just can't have that dominant defense to play 16 games anymore. Like, the game has just, like, all defenses are inconsistent, in my opinion, nowadays.
Well, it's a lot of it is the offense, because you get that kind of that college style spread offense, like Chip Kelly offense, where you come in and you're reading the idea of it is we're going to read your best players. So, like, let's say you're playing the Bears and you're going to read Khalil Mack every single play. So if he comes into the box, we're going to throw it. If he's outside the box, we're going to run it. And you just make them wrong every single play. And I think that's why you need a couple guys on defense to be kind of a threat. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by threat?
Like, to be able to stop, because you get an offense like the Bears offense is like this. I love the Bears offense. I think they could get some better players to support it. But what they do is they'll isolate the best
Trubisky.
guy. Yeah, I mean, I want him to be good.
No, I love Nagy. And Taylor Gabriel's my friend. Oh yeah, really? So I'm rooting for I'm rooting for the Bears.
Yeah, that was a rough loss in the playoffs.
Yeah, but go ahead, keep talking, talking about that.
Yeah, well, so what they do is they'll run kind of a zone read concept, and what they'll do is they'll isolate the best player on that defense. So like a little RPO, you know what that is?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they'll isolate like a backer on an RPO. So if he plays the run, they just pull it, throw it out, hit the pass, make him wrong every single play. And it's just that's the way the game's changing. And that's why I think guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, shorter quarterbacks, can play this game, because it's so fast. And that's what they're used to from college.
Got you. So smart decision making, quick decision making, good game plan, good execution. A small guy like Kyler Murray can make it. That's right,
Oh yeah,
right?
100%. Well, see, like I'm not a very big guy myself. Like I'm same size as Kyler Murray, but he's got about 30 pounds on me. But what the reason why I think he could play and why guys like Russell Wilson can play is there's not enough of them to prove this yet. But they play in the pocket differently. Like a guy like Tom Brady or like Drew Lock coming in, freaking trees. They're looking over everything, but shorter quarterbacks are looking through windows. It's the line makes a window. You wouldn't know it unless you're back there as a shorter quarterback. But you get all these analysts who are all 6'5" plus, and they're saying he can't play. It's like, well, yeah, because he plays in the pocket differently than you, because they're looking through windows, and it's for a shorter QB. They have to play the pocket differently. That's just how it's been. And I think the game is changing to where they're tailoring offenses around skill sets like Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, stuff like that, to where they could play through those windows. That's why I think he's gonna be a great NFL player.
Yeah, I think it was Reggie Bush today was saying like they asked him what's the negative sides of playing with Drew Brees and his height, and he was like, there's no negatives except one is like sometimes when he's going for a 5 yard out, little short pass, he doesn't see Breeze and the ball all of
Yeah.
a sudden is coming at him.
Yeah, that's a good
But
point. That is a good
that's
point.
that's and not he didn't. That's not much of a negative, but he was just like that's
Yeah.
really the only thing that was
Hmm.
bad with playing with Breeze. So you just got to be ready for the ball all of a sudden flying because you're not gonna, he's like glancing back at his quarterback to see what's
Yeah.
going on, and he just can't see him. But that's the only bad thing he said about playing with a guy like Drew Brees. So Kyler Murray measured at 5'10", a 5'10" and 1/8 inches, so just above 5'10", 207 pounds, and hand size is 9.5. Is that hand size is like little bit less than you'd want? I don't know about hand. Like, do you even know what that is? 9.5.
Yeah, I think that's important because, and I think that's a good hand size. I'm not sure like what the
They
like
had a
average
let me bring
is.
this up while you're talking. They had one compared to Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield. Would that help you out at all?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so like, okay, what do you think about hand? Like, so you think it's important?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think well, because one, it helps with gripping the ball. Because a lot of playing quarterback is like you could have a strong arm, you could be able to throw this thing, but if you can't grip the ball, like especially if he goes to a place like New York
Dar-
or
Darnold,
yeah, where
Darnold,
yeah,
hand
like
size, and he drops the ball a lot.
that could be the reason why. But it's just like a cold environment like that, you want to be able to have a big hand to be able to grip the ball, but also it helps in general because you have more control over the ball.
Yeah, I went to Buffalo, New York, one time
Hmm.
in December, Christmas time, and
Oh, jeez.
man, I love chicken wings. I love buffalo wings. They have incredible buffalo wings there. Like I mean, they
Yeah,
invented it. It's so if you ever,
yeah.
you ever try, keep that in mind. If you like you like chicken wings.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Buffalo, man, they have basically two bars. That's like the one that invented it, and then the new one. So
Uh-huh.
you want to hit both of them up. It's so amazing. Like
Oh, that's great.
anywhere you go, it's probably twice as good in Buffalo.
Okay.
Other than
All right.
that, it's not a. I don't want to talk bad about it. It's just let's just say it's not good. It is
Yeah.
cold as heck there, and
Yeah.
that's why I always
Yeah.
had Josh Allen, the quarterback, Josh Allen, going to the Bills, and they draft. I feel like that's a good. Like he's huge. He has big hands. Good arm strength
Hmm.
to push through that cold weather. So I always had
Yeah.
him
And he's
pinned
from
going there.
Wyoming.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, he has actually been doing better than I thought.
He's not bad.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't have a good supporting cast. I feel like he's
Yeah.
doing so good with that cast.
Yeah. I agree. I think he needs to just definitely get some weapons around him. I mean, it's kind of tough, and he didn't start right away, right?
I think Nathan
Because he
Peterman.
had like Peterman.
I
Yeah.
think he
Yeah.
started. I don't know, but Nathan Peterman was
Or he got
ahead of
hurt.
him for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
while, and then that didn't last
Yeah.
too long. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's tough to do as a quarterback to kind of just come right into that situation. But I thought he handled it pretty well.
Yeah, he did better than I thought, and I'm a fan of his. So, anyway, so look at this right here. So Russell Wilson, 2012, he's 5'10" and 5'8", 204 pounds, hand size 10 1/4 inches. Baker Mayfield, you know him, is slightly bigger and taller,
Mm-hmm.
9 1/4 a hand size, and Murray slightly bigger hand size than Mayfield, 9.5. With exactly 9.5. Okay, notable. This is like some kind of like combine or beat writers notes or something. Notable NFL quarterbacks with exactly 9.5-inch hands. Matt Ryan, Dalton, Trubisky, Lamar Jackson, RG3, Sam Bradford. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think they matter. I don't think it's an issue. If it was like 8 inches or something, then I think it would be a problem.
Let's look
But
at
I don't
small
think
hand
it's
Darnold.
a problem.
I know he's got small hand. 9 3/8. So is that
Yeah, so I mean, if he goes somewhere cold, it might be an issue, but
9
I
and
don't think.
3/8 is just slightly smaller than Kyler Murray's hands. But
Okay,
Darnold
I
isn't
I think
short.
it'll be fine. Yeah, I think they'll be fine.
This is like a, I don't know, cliche question, but like how much do you read into the combine, or is there some stuff that you look into more?
Okay, the I think the 40 is important. I think it's completely like overrated because a lot of what goes into the 40 is the start. And so you hear guys talk about all the time that if you pop straight up, you're going to run a slow time because then your start's slow. I don't want to get into all like the mechanics of it, but if you pop straight up, your time's going to be slow. So it's I don't know if it's really a good gauge on speed because what if you're a slow starter but you have you can kick up fast. So I think the 40 is important, definitely, and I think it's good to gauge, your athleticism. But as for quarterbacks and receiver wise, I think the throwing's important, but I think as from at least from a quarterback perspective, they want to see if you could make the throws. I don't really think it necessarily needs to be like on time. It's because you've never thrown with these receivers before. I think that's why a lot of quarterbacks don't throw at the combine.
They throw on the pro day a lot though, right?
Yeah, because they've been working with those receivers since whenever they started training for the pro day.
Film's the most important.
Oh, 100%.
Like
Yeah, 100%.
it's because that's when you see, when the game's on the line, when there's pressure, like more
Yeah,
realistic situation. Are they winners or do they crack under
exactly.
pressure?
Yeah, exactly. Like a guy like Quinnen Williams, he's played in some huge games and he's played well in them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what they want to look for. If you could play in the big stage, because that's every single game is the national championship in the NFL. That's the kind of caliber talent.
Fresh Baller says you're watching the combine and listening to the podcast at the same time. Me too, dude. I think we got who's today? Running backs and quarterbacks, something like that.
And it was like linemen and running backs. I was watching a little bit of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I find the whole thing weird, but it's still fun. Like it
Yeah, oh,
gives us
yeah.
something to watch during it. So like John Ross, his stock went up because of his 40 time. Chris Johnson, his stock went up because of his 40 time.
Hmm.
Saquon Barkley, if I had to say, I think his 40 time was incredible, but like he was mad, and I don't know. I think he's a special player, and I believe him. I think he ran it slower than, you know what I mean? Like I think his 40 time
Yeah,
was like he's probably faster than that, and he ran like a 4.44 or something.
yeah. I mean, because he could have stumbled out of the start. You know what I mean? Like he could have popped up. It could have been something so small mechanical that went from 4.47 to maybe 4.39 or something like that. It's just something so little. That's why I
Yeah.
think it's kind of overrated in my opinion.
Yeah, but it still gives you an idea. Like that's just kind of how it is, right? Like just gives you a little idea of how fast
Yeah,
this guy could be.
exactly.
Yeah, I think Saquon when he was practicing for the 40, he practiced a lot, and I think his time was way lower than it was
Hmm.
when they were doing it with his trainers and whatnot. I think he got it way lower,
Yeah.
and it just so happened to be 4.44. I love watching that guy, but every time I watch him,
Oh,
it's
he's so
like I
exciting.
wish he was on a real team. Like he would just.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if he had like Shanahan as his coach, the Niners coach, Shanahan as
Yeah.
his coach, a good O line, like good quarterback, like just I remember his
Yeah.
stats one game was like, he had like 50 yards and like 10 receptions. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
like this
Crazy.
guy's a dope running back. Like, let's get, and then PPR. I mean, I can't argue with that in fantasy, but
True.
I just like want to see him like really, because like Devontae Freeman and whatnot did better than Saquon when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl. Like, and there's just no way that Freeman's anywhere as good.
Oh yeah, not at all.
Freshball says I'm mainly scouting for Dynasty rookie draft, also watching Holyfield. Go Dogs. DK Metcalf weighed in 1.6% body fat. What is this? What's going on here? What is it? Why is this guy so crazy?
No way. I didn't even see that. That's not healthy. Like,
dude, yeah, I mean,
oh my god, the best shape I've ever gotten in, and I was like dieting, training every day. I was like 7%, and that was like best shape playing football, like height of my career, and it was 7%. I thought I was in great shape, and these 1.5 is insane.
Yeah, when you say it's not healthy, it just doesn't even sound
oh my
like
god.
realistic. Like,
oh my, that's insane though. He's not like light. He's 230.
that's it's all muscle. Like, and when you
God.
say it, like literally all muscle, like. I mean, it is, man. It's all muscle. He looks like, professional bodybuilder or something, like.
Yeah, no, he looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, he looks insane. And I don't know if it's changed, but now everyone's ranking him number 1. Like, do you know much about him? Like, I'm pretty.
Yeah, the thing that's gonna knock him is he got that neck injury, which is like we were talking about earlier with injuries. That's something serious, like a neck, like you need your neck. But I think he's a deep threat. Like he's red zone threat. Just throw it up to him. You know what I mean? He's probably gonna catch a lot of balls if you play. He's a possession receiver, definitely. He's not going to be the guy who's going to be, real quick in and out of his routes. His routes do need some work from some of the film that I've seen him. He doesn't have a lot of film, mostly because he's been out with injuries, and he left Ole Miss early. But I don't know. I don't know if he should be number 1. I definitely think he's top 3. 100% think he's top 3. But yeah, I just don't think you could pass up the physicality.
Marquise Brown would be the number 1 guy if you don't think Metcalf is, right?
Yeah, that's 100% my guy. I don't know. I just think the way he's so intelligent, like the way he runs his routes, and I'm sure a lot of it is because of Antonio Brown, but just the way he runs his routes are just so impressive. The way because he can get open, like from being a quarterback and from working with receivers, you're going to get the ball if you're open, and Marquise Brown gets open. And when he doesn't get the ball, Oklahoma suffered. You saw against Bama, right? He didn't get the ball. He wasn't active. I think it was because he was injured, and they suffered because of it.
So real quick, some news here. So Alex Collins was arrested this morning after a car crash. So Gus Edwards is the main back on the Ravens. I'm sure whether they're going to get Le'Veon Bell, who's slated to go there, or draft a running back, which is, what I'd like to do. They're going to probably get a running back there for sure. Because Gus Edwards, I love Gus Edwards, but he can't catch. So it's like, it's needed in this modern day NFL. Like, I don't know. There's nobody like that anymore. Like Jordan Howard, even though he learned how to catch this offseason, he's worked on it. Like, it's just no room in the NFL for guys like that. Like, if a guy can't catch, I'll put that as a red flag. Like, Gus Edwards is the exception for sure. But he can get replaced. Like, if they get Le'Veon Bell, I mean, Gus Edwards' stock is nothing now. So, if a guy can't catch, or you see the other things, like he's not a good blocker, this and that, those are red flags. Like, I'm telling you, these running backs, because of what I believe is true, like, it's just not worth the cap space. You got to be good at the other stuff. Got to be a good 100%. Teammate. Got to block for the quarterback. You got to catch the ball. You got to run routes. You got to do this. Got to do that. If not, Hey, I'll just draft a running back in the 3rd round. That's worked great for everybody.
Absolutely.
When has that been bad? It's like drafting a running back in the 3rd round nowadays equals money. I mean, Kamara, all these guys, 3rd round running backs.
I think a cheaper Le'Veon Bell is probably Josh Jacobs this year in the draft. He can block. He checks off all the boxes that you just talked about. He can block, catch, and he's a good running back. And he's been in an NFL type system with Alabama. That's big time college football. And I think he's a cheaper Le'Veon Bell.
Josh Jacobs. Yeah, another thing you have to worry about with Le'Veon Bell, I don't think it's a major issue, but I do think it's a significant issue, is his, whatever you want to call it, his attitude, his risk.
Yeah.
Because, taking pictures on the jet ski, tweeting really weird, his rap album, and just stuff like that. It just doesn't scream focus. It doesn't scream, I trust this guy 100%. So there's that risk. Right. I think that's enough for a team just to be like, hey, let me get you for a couple mil cheaper because of this. Like, I don't think it's enough for a team to be like, oh, we're not touching him. Like, we can't trust him. Like, it's not that bad, but I feel like, all right, can we do a couple mil cheaper? Like, you're kind of weird. Like your rap single's kind of weird. I don't know about this. Like, that's what, but I like that. So I got this mock draft here. Josh Jacobs going number 26 to the Colts. Love it. There, you heard it, guys. Grant saying Josh Jacobs, similar to comparing him to Le'Veon Bell, cheaper Le'Veon Bell. You don't have to pay $100 million.
Yeah, just draft him.
Dude, that would be a sick draft pick, right? If the Colts were to take Josh Jacobs,
that'd be huge. Yeah, that'd be huge. And he's a great pass blocker. My God, he can block. So I think that'd be good for Andrew Luck.
Trade Marlon Mack, maybe. Like, Marlon Mack's pretty good though. Like. Yeah. I don't know. You could keep Marlon Mack, but if you're saying Josh Jacobs can catch, they don't need that's gonna add that different dimension. And Luck is just so good. So yeah, this one has him going number 26 to the Colts. That would be awesome.
That could work.
I think the Colts are trying to get Landon Collins, safety from the Giants. That would be huge. Like, they don't have a lot of holes now. Maybe get some more receivers for Luck.
Yeah, I maybe draft DK Metcalf or AJ Brown.
Dude, Luck makes a star out of anybody. Luck had, because there was games where T.Y. Hilton, who's pretty good, was injured, and Luck was like, nah, it don't matter. These guys, those guys are like 4th-string wide receivers. They haven't played on other teams when they were on there. So they've been backups on other teams, barely gaining playing time, and now they're starting for the Colts, scoring a bunch of touchdowns every game. And I'll just give you an easy example. Ebron, Stafford's okay, not a great quarterback, but he's decent. Ebron was kind of a joke on the I'll just say he's a disappointment, just very frustrating. Disappointment. Like, he wasn't atrocious all the time, inconsistent, disappointing. Goes to the Colts. Luckily I drafted him in a couple leagues and just balls out. Is one of the best tight ends in the game last year. And come on, there's one factor, Andrew Luck. Some more news. Okay, look at this one. From the Irony of Ironies department. That sounds so stupid. Oklahoma wide receiver Marquise Brown, Antonio's cousin, will meet with the Steelers tonight.
Oh man, that's funny.
Steelers are weird now. That's weird. Remember what the organization meant, like, when Polamalu was there, and now what what you think about what the organization is just like. It's almost sad. I'm not a Steeler. Yeah. You got a favorite NFL team?
I don't really have too many. I like the Browns because Baker went there. I'm a big Baker guy.
Yeah, I love the Browns too.
Yeah, but not really a huge, like, I don't really have a huge team.
Probably the Browns. You didn't have a team, like, as a kid?
I like the Eagles, but that was when I was real little, but not anymore.
Damn, usually people have a team, but I'm not hating on that. Like, I got a bunch of teams that I like. I'm a Niner fan, throughout, but I do like other teams, like the Browns, of course. Like, I bet for them to win over 6 games this season. Like, the bet was at 5.5, but I couldn't find it anymore. I was like, that's a great bet, 5.5, because I was like, I think they'll win 7. And so I found one for 6. Luckily, I was able to win that one. They just made a huge improvement. Nick Chubb is dope. I was a huge Jarvis Landry fan, but they don't even use him anymore.
Not as much as he should be.
But it works though. Like Mayfield's kind of on fire. Like he's really good. And you know, who am I? You want me to walk in the building and be like, you know, we should throw the Jarvis more? I drafted him. The man's playing really good. So whatever he's doing is working, and there's a good chance he'll take a leap next year.
Oh yeah, I think they're a playoff team next year.
You think so?
Oh yeah, because I mean, look, in their division, you got the Steelers. They're falling apart, like we talked about.
Bungles.
Who else?
Bungles are doormat now. They're the new Browns. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Ravens, which I mean, Lamar Jackson. You know, I think it could be between the Ravens and the Browns.
They have a great defense though, which does help the Ravens.
True. Yeah. True. But I think the Browns are a playoff team.
Browns. 10 wins, and 10 wins usually does get you in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So I got them at 10 wins. So I guess I'm agreeing with you that I'd say probably they'll probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't. Probably. It's just such a huge leap with a team that never wins,
know,
and now you're like, it's a playoff team.
Playoff team. I think they are.
It could be though. Cause, when the schedules come out, like I don't hate on people that look at, like you guys look at them, whatever. I don't because of this, or I don't take. Sometimes I look at it a little bit because this is what I tell everybody. Every year there's 4 to 5 teams that shock us and are way worse than we thought. And every year there's 4 to 5 teams that are way better than we thought and shock us. So that means that 1/3, and sometimes it's 6 teams. That means that 1/3 of teams will be way drastically different than we thought. Like a team that we thought would suck would be great. A team that we thought would be great would suck. So when you look at the schedule, basically 1/3 of it, you can't say any, like you're going to be wrong on 1/3 of it. Like I put it like completely wrong. So I mean that just takes out a lot to me. Like that's 5 games. This is like 5-6 games right there. You're like, all right, well, what's going to happen is not going to happen. And that's why I don't pay too much attention to the schedule. And that's what makes the NFL cool. Like, there's always surprises when it comes to teams every year. One more news for you. We were talking about breaking news, and you're like, oh, I thought that was, like, real news. Yeah, this is another, like, not big news, but, little, very, very, very tiny news. Yeah. Dwayne Haskins said he had a formal interview with the Jaguars 2 days ago and did some work on the whiteboard. Also met with the Raiders and Saints.
Raiders. I think Haskins. I don't know. Haskins. The Raiders. That's interesting. That's really interesting. Who was the first team that he did the work
Jags.
with?
So my boy who does the podcast with me usually, he is saying Kyler Murray to the Raiders, and they go to Vegas. He's kind of bold, and I believe it because, like, I mean, a lot of people, I'm not against what Gruden did, but a lot of people think he's stupid or insane. So
I think there's something up here with him. I don't think there's.
So you kind of
there's a method. Yeah, there's a method to his madness.
Oh, so you think there is something smart that at least he thinks behind it.
There's got to be because that didn't make any sense.
It made sense to me. I like the moves. My buddy liked it too. I know it's very weird though, but I'm just saying that. Oh, the point I'm really trying to make with all that is that it is possible. Now, I think like there's other players they could really use and really get. And Carr, I mean, it's really it doesn't really matter what we think of Carr. It really matters what Gruden thinks of Carr, and we don't really know that. So I'd say it's it's a realistic possibility gets Kyler Murray. But when you're at number 4 and you have all this ammo. It's just so like this mock draft has Quinnen Williams going there. Not likely, but let's say like Josh Allen is there. Like, how do you or Bosa? How do you like pass up on one of these guys who are super elite? I think all 3 of these guys are amazing. Bosa, Allen, Quinnen Williams. What positions do they need? Every position. So it's like, how do you pass up on the best player? A Pro Bowl player. A lot of these guys are Pro Bowl caliber. How do you pass up on that and go with Kyler Murray? I mean, you'll sell some tickets. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know how you pass up on those guys. I mean, it's tough. If Gruden liked Haskins and Murray, I think he'll go with them. That's just that. But because he's a quarterback guy, he had that quarterback show on ESPN for a
And it
little
was,
while.
dude, he was so awesome on ESPN,
Yeah,
man.
and
Quarterback camp or whatever,
yeah,
Gruden's camp.
yeah, that was I love that show. But it was just if he likes Murray, I think he'll take Murray
Because you got to
because
do something
he's
with
been
Carr,
balling.
right? Like you can't just like the Cardinals would have to get rid of
Yeah.
Rosen if they wanted to get Kyler Murray.
Well, I think Haskins might be a better fit because Haskins only has 1 year. Well, and Murray too, I guess. They only have 1 year of college ball. And I mean, they both balled out, don't get me wrong. But they probably need another year to just develop into a pro system. I don't know if they're ready to be thrown right into the fire right
The
away.
Raiders
So I
Raiders got
think,
some hot fire too. They'd be throwing if we go to the
yeah, see, I don't
Raiders.
know. Yeah, that's so. I think that'd be a good place for them to kind of hang back a year, maybe two, develop, learn how to be a pro, and then just transition if it doesn't work out with Carr. But I don't know if the Raiders have time to waste, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think what my boy said makes sense too. They're not. I think they're playing in the Niner Stadium or whatever they're doing this year, and then
Yeah,
after
yeah.
that they're going to Vegas, and I think that kind of makes sense. So let's say you go Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the sexy pick though. Like that's the one I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
gonna sell the most tickets.
hundred
And I know
percent.
this is crazy talk, but it's like you gotta. This is Gruden we're talking about. Like even if it
Yeah,
wasn't
you never know.
Gruden, I think you gotta at least consider this. And
Hmm.
you get Kyler Murray, and like you're saying, like that's a good point. Maybe he doesn't play the first year. Then boom, you
Hmm.
go to Vegas. You have all these young players, this incredible team, and that's why I want Kyler Murray on the Giants. I feel like that's a Madden team. It's just going to be a
Oh
fun
yeah,
team. I feel like if they click, that team's going to be on fire.
that's
They'll finally
yeah,
score
that's
30 plus
trouble.
points sometimes. They haven't been scoring a lot of
True.
points. Like all these teams, like the Falcons that year they almost won the Super Bowl, scoring a ton of points. Rams scoring a ton of points, getting in a lot of yards. Eagles when they won, the RPO and all. Like we're seeing some
Hmm.
crazy, awesome offenses. We're seeing some crazy schemes, some crazy offensive minded coaches, and
Hundred
then
percent.
Giants. Odell, Saquon, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, boring. How is that? Like, come on, put Kyler Murray in there. And I love it. So the news coming out of the Giants organization, man, is we're sticking with Eli Manning. And that YouTube video I watch is getting tons of support. It's like the dude's first YouTube video. And it's like, it's a well done video. I just disagree with it. And it's like Eli Manning didn't fall off. I think it's time to move away from Eli Manning. I was an Eli Manning
Yeah.
believer in 2018. I told people, hey, you can draft him as like a, last round, like as a QB2. I was wrong. That it's over.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's another situation where maybe you give Eli a year because he has been there a while, but you have Haskins or Murray kind of sitting there because if Eli starts to do bad during the season, you could always just throw in the rookie. That's some attention because your season's probably going to suck anyways if your quarterback can't play. Kind of like a Baker Mayfield situation because he sat for the first
Well, the
three
plan was
games,
he
I
was
think.
going to
Yeah,
sit for a lot longer, but
yeah,
Tyrod Taylor was awful.
yeah, and I think he got hurt, and then bam, it's that quick. You're just one play away. So I think you let Haskins Murray kind of sit there, learn from Eli because he's been doing it for a while. He's not, I'm not. He's a pro, definitely. I don't think he's as good as our. Actually, I don't really think he was ever that great. He's a good quarterback, but let them learn from him. Let them learn how the game works, the speed of the game, because there's a difference. There's a learning curve when you get out of college, and especially a guy like Murray because see, if the Giants are more of like a pro style system, they're not like. But if you bring in Murray, you have to change your whole offense. So I think if you bring in Murray, you probably have to go double down with him and just
Yeah, you
throw
got
him
to
into the
make it
fire.
entertaining. You got
Yeah,
to make the
exactly. Yeah,
office. You got to put some spice in the office.
exactly. Because Murray's not going to be able to go under center, take a 7-step draw, bootleg out of there. That's not his skill set. So you have to have him in gun, zone read, RPO. With Saquon and Odell, I think that's dangerous. But you have to double down if you're going to bring in
Yeah,
Kyler
and I
Murray.
agree with you. Learning from Eli, it's a good because Baker was supposed to learn from Tyrod Taylor. Now that
Yeah,
sounds like so ridiculous, but at the time,
yeah,
I was convinced that it's okay. Like Tyrod doesn't throw a lot of picks. He had a bad stint in the Bills. Like he ended up being kind of whack, but
mhm.
Baker, I still think probably learned a couple things from Tyrod Taylor. Like he's a pro.
Oh
He
yeah,
learned like you can learn a lot more from a guy like Eli Manning. The man has 2 Super Bowl rings. Defeated Tom Brady. Like he knows a lot. So
mhm.
yeah, I definitely like that. Did we talk about everyone? So the best running back. Are you saying hands down is um jo- uh
Jacob.
Jacobs, or did I just make that up?
No, yeah, that I think he's probably the best one. I think probably the second best is probably from Alabama too, Damian Harris. But I think Jacobs is he's a three down back. You could have him in. He could go catch a ball for you. He could block for you. He could run the ball. So I think it's hands down Josh Jacobs. He didn't run at the combine though. I think he's recovering from an injury.
Yeah, I
He
think
gets to
it's
probably
slight though. If this is the
yeah,
like I remember stuff. I'm not good with names though. So, but there was a guy, a running back. I think he had a very slight injury. They said it's not going to affect him, but he's just not going to participate in this. So that's
yeah,
probably him.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you just get your take on Derrick Henry of the Titans. You know what I'm talking about. Like he was supposed to be good, and then the coach didn't use him, and then he blew up. You kind of know what I'm talking about. Have you watched
Yeah,
any
yeah,
of him
yeah.
play? Any of his play?
Yeah, didn't his like last game he rushed for like 200 yards or
Yeah, he
something,
went.
right?
So what happened was like, in fantasy, Derrick Henry was going 2 rounds ahead of Dion Lewis, and then the coaching
Mhm.
staff's like, all right, Dion Lewis is really the starter, and Derrick Henry is just like we don't know, and then the coach was
Uh-huh.
like, stop. We're running Derrick Henry. And that was like week 15 or something, like week 4. It was right when fantasy playoffs started.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he destroyed the Jags. And from the film analysis that I talked to, they're saying Derrick Henry is just kind of like a special skill set. You absolutely have to use him certain ways. He's like big and powerful, but he's not like a fullback type of HB dive type of guy. And
Yeah.
he's not, great pass catcher. You have to use him maybe like outside zone or like one cut reads. Like you just like certain ways you just have to use him. Anyway, that's how they ended up using him, and he just blew up. So I'm pretty excited um, about him. But let's talk about like other guys in the NFL now, or in the draft. Anything like, do you think anyone stands out? Like any information that we can use to help find some diamonds in the rough, whether it be Doug Baldwin's get off, or another wide
Yeah, yeah.
receiver's just excellent route running, or I see you post on Instagram all the time about faking the DB. So
Mhm.
anything, or an NFL draft. So anybody you just want to talk about or mention, go ahead.
Let me think. I think we'll start with the draft. There's a guy been studying his route running since more videos of him has been coming out for because of the Combine Senior Bowl. But Debo Samuel, I don't know if you know, out of South Carolina, he's a receiver.
No, that's why I got you. What round do you think
Yeah,
he's going?
I think he's probably going to be later rounds. I would think maybe second or third. I'd maybe first, depending on the combine. I don't really know too much about that. But man, his routes are just he is gonna get open. He's a lot like Doug Baldwin. You know what I mean? He'll just get open for you. That's why I think in the draft he's probably the diamond in the rough that not a lot of people are talking about right now. But just the way he performs, and I've seen some videos of him working out. He works his ass off. He's he's a good receiver that I think a lot of people are gonna pass up. And then
They're
let's
saying
see
Debo
in the
Samuel's
league.
maybe 49ers because he gets passed up on. And
Yeah, that
just
could be that.
be
Yeah,
like, hey, he's, kind of like, well, no, Dante Pettis he was drafted too early, but ended up being good. But yeah, Debo Samuel's is saying 49ers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on him. Yeah, I
yeah,
never heard of him. So yeah, that's a
yeah. Keep an eye on him. He's in the draft. I think he's a sleeper for
could
sure.
possibly make an impact year one.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think
Nice.
if he gets in the right system, like we've been talking about, I think he could do some damage.
Got you. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna write this one down. Yeah, keep going.
Let me see. In the pros, man, I'm trying to
What
think.
about the quarterback? So it's really just those three, and then it's kind of like hitter, like you're taking it, you're throwing a dart, like just hoping it hits after those three quarterbacks: Locke, Haskins, and Murray.
Yeah, I like Will Greer out of West Virginia, man. I'm surprised he's not in the top five. He's not on anybody's top five, I don't think. And he was in the running for the Heisman most of the season, but I guess everybody just kind of forgot about it. I don't know, but I think Will Greer's gonna be. I think he's just as good as Drew Lock. I don't know why. He had some issues at Florida, I think, and that'll probably come out. But yeah, I think he's a
What do you
sleeper
mean,
too. Will Greer.
technical issues or off the field issues?
I think it was more like off the field. I think he failed the drug test because he was like because I followed him when he was in high school, and he was like 170 his senior year, and then he was like 220 his freshman year of college, and so he got popped for like PEDs or something like that.
Drew Brees' replacement right here, Will Greer.
Could be, yeah. I don't. I really think he's not going to play right away,
Yeah, I
obviously.
mean,
But
Drew
I think
Brees ain't
yeah,
retiring this year. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I think he's definitely a sleeper in this draft that I think will be a steal for some teams if they do. If they get him, because they'll be able to get him cheap too. I think he's definitely a sleeper.
Would you draft him in the first round if you were a
No,
GM? Just a
if
like
if
general question.
if all three of those quarterbacks were off the board and I needed a quarterback, I'd probably take him first round. But I know I could get him second or third, maybe even fourth.
This one's got Will
I don't,
Greer going 28 to the Chargers.
that's bold. Yeah.
Similar
I like
situation
that.
though, like Rivers is not
Yeah.
retiring, but he's up there in age. He will probably
Hmm.
retire or get replaced in 2 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and they got him going. But every year it's I'm trying to think of a year where it's not, and it every year quarterbacks always go higher. Their stock always goes up because teams know like they need
Hmm.
a quarterback or they need a replacement.
Very true.
So in this guy right here, NFL.com has Will Greer going 28. So I think it's very likely if a team wants to replace their
Yeah.
quarterback. Patriots don't have a backup really either.
They
Not one
don't.
that
Yeah. They.
not one that Bill likes. So Bill Belichick may leave, may stay. Um, Josh Daniels may take over. They may draft somebody, or they may trade for a quarterback. A lot of
Yeah.
situations there. Breeze, and now I didn't even
Hmm.
think of Rivers.
Yeah. That's. I think those would be great fits for him.
But you're saying Wilger's definitely number 4 though.
Oh
There's
yeah,
a
100%.
separate like the three are better than Greer.
I don't think Locke is better than Greer. I think Murray and Haskins are better than Greer. But I think Locke and Greer could be interchangeable.
Okay, that's good. That's good. As I felt like that was a dumb question I just asked you, but okay, that gives me. I get so tier 1. That's what you're saying. Tier 1, Kyler and Haskins, and then
Hmm.
tier 2, which is basically the same. You have them rated about the same. Is Will Greer
Yeah.
and I'm not good with names and Locke. Shoot,
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And we already talked about DK Metcalf. Man, this guy's just crazy. When's his combine? Tomorrow?
Yeah, I think quarterbacks receivers
Yeah,
are
it says
tomorrow.
quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. So are we gonna see this dude like go crazy at the combine?
I don't know. His 40 is going to be interesting. I would love to see his 40.
1.6% body fat. Like when I work with
That's so crazy.
Taekwondo, like people that do Taekwondo, like really compete
Yeah, yeah.
national tournaments. Like 5% is like an insane for
Yeah, like
them.
you're
In
jacked at
Taekwondo, there's
5%.
no grappling. There's no, none of that. It's just usually
Uh-huh.
quick power kicks, and
Yeah.
that's it. So it's the guy. You want to be very in shape. Very skinny, and
Hmm.
5% is usually insane for them. But that's like kind of what they want to hit 5-7%. So got to
Yeah.
be 1.6% is just
Yeah.
that's usually like one of those bodybuilders that have a mental issue. Is
Yeah,
something wrong with
that are
them
like for a
mentally?
competition. Yeah,
Or yeah, they're competing, and so they're doing
yeah,
unhealthy stuff like the week
yeah.
before, to get ready for that. Yeah, so
That's insane.
I heard he's got that pedigree though. His dad or uncle played, and his grandfather played, something like that. The two Metcalfs
Oh yeah,
played
probably.
in played football, college, and NFL. So
Oh
very
yeah.
interesting to see that. Any more guys? Any diamonds in the rough? What could we? Any technique? I love this stuff, man. I love like guys like, oh, this guy's good. He's underrated. Like this guy's got the technique. If only he had a better quarterback. Um, this and that. Like
Man, I'm trying to
Antonio
think.
Brown's gonna be traded. I mean, is he
Yeah,
still got? Is he
yeah.
still conversation for number one?
Oh, 100%. I think he's probably the best route runner in the NFL. Definitely, I think he gets open like nobody else. I don't know. This year, he didn't have the best year, right, fantasy wise.
Yeah, he's still good though. Like it's
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
the main one of the main things was he's always been number one. So when he's
Hmm.
not number one and he's like number five or something, that's like a huge disappointment because you
Yeah,
draft him
I mean,
knowing he's gonna be the best wide receiver and he ends up being whatever it was, number five. It's like wow, but the games where he did get usage, he killed it. Like he still
yeah.
played well, and it seemed like there was a lot going on behind the scenes that was bad.
Yeah, I think he needs to find a good quarterback, like we were talking about, because Big Ben could get him the ball, but if he's in a situation where they can't get him the ball, there's no point of him getting even open. You know what I mean? Because he's always open. He'll always find a way to get open. I think that's why in a PPR league he's great because he gets a ton of catches, but I think he needs to find a situation with a good
He
quarterback.
also gets touch for his size. He gets a lot of touchdowns too. Like
Oh
he's
yeah,
great in every league. Of course, PPR, yeah, he gets a lot of. Typically, he gets a ton of receptions. They have the number one team. I think Niners are the top runners to get
oh yeah,
Antonio
that'd be good for
Brown.
him.
My theory though is the Niners want him, but for super cheap. So
Yeah, he wants to get paid.
well, he's already got a contract. It's just the
Yeah,
Steelers
yeah,
don't want to give him away for cheap, but they already kind of
yeah,
announced that they want it's gonna the trade's gonna happen. Don't pay
yeah.
attention to what the Steelers are saying. That's really what's going on. So he's gonna get traded pretty much. And when you announce something like that, at least Antonio Brown announced it to be technical, then people don't want to pay up. So there's a lot of teams that are being cheap right now and trying to get Antonio Brown. And I think the Niners are really at the top. And Antonio Brown wants to be a nine. A lot of players want to play for Kyle Shanahan.
Oh
Just
yeah,
in my personal
definitely.
circle, I hear that a lot. Not necessarily even from the players that I've talked to. Not they're like I want to play for Kyle Shanahan. They tell me I want to play, and sometimes they tell me they always tell me a lot of players want to play, and I've heard this on TV too. So a lot of players want to
Hmm.
play for this guy, and who wouldn't? Whether even like McVay, I'm sure like any coach like that who's just
Oh yeah, yeah.
got crazy offense, they'd wanna play for. Brave
Mhm.
Braves Couch Ninja. This guy seems weird, but let me read this. Sometimes they try to troll me, get me to say weird stuff. Let me see. Rolling with Lamar Ravens is questionable until they find a solid RB1. They also need some decent receivers there. No solid deep threats on the entire roster. So I don't get the first part of what you're saying. Oh, I get what he means at the first. So the second part I think is not like obviously they need receivers, right? The Ravens,
Oh
they
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
got
yeah.
rid of Crabtree, which is not I mean, that didn't really matter. He sucks. And Willie Snead and John Brown, I mean, they need somebody to catch. But I
Yeah,
get this the RB, you mean like he means like we need a guy like Le'Veon Bell on the Ravens to feed the ball to instead of Lamar Jackson running out there getting tackled on 16 plays.
yeah. I think Le'Veon would be a good move for them, and I think they go after a guy like DK Metcalf in the draft. I think that should be their play. But I don't know if that would work financially.
I think they can make it work. I didn't look at that, but I think it's whatever I'm hearing is that it's possible.
Yeah, I think that'd be huge, especially for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think they can make it work somehow. They got to make some, make some adjustments. What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He says I got it right. Yeah, that's no, I totally agree. See, I'm not with the quarterback size, this and that. I'm not gonna disagree. I'm not going to. Hold on, my dog wants to get up. I'm not gonna go crazy over quarterback size in this. I do go crazy over quarterback play though. So I'm on the record for being a Cam Newton hater. And this is the toughest quarterback in the league. But that type of style play, I don't draft him in fantasy. So I'm always worried. And the man proved that he is way tougher than I thought. But I ended up being right. It's like one of those moments where it's like, I don't want to say I told you so. I'm not happy to be right. Yeah. And I ended up being right because this is how one of the ways it started with another. We have an experts league. And this guy's like, dude, how could you go Andrew Luck over Cam Newton? Like this, and so he kind of started arguing. And he likes Luck, but I was like, dude, Cam Newton, I feel like he's not a leader. I feel like he's gonna get hit a lot. And he ended up being very well. And then just like nobody can take that type of pun, or at least you don't want your quarterback taking that type of punishment. And Lamar Jackson, how many games has he started in? Like half a season?
Yeah, not a lot. He took over towards the end.
Imagine that for 10 years. Like, it's not even, like, you can't even imagine that. Like, it's not, for a quarterback, you can't do it. Because teams, what I said was, like, it's just a harsh reality. If I play against Cam Newton, I'm going to try to hurt him.
Because that's how they play. That's just how any defensive guy thinks.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, like, I want to injure him, but it's, like, it's more like, dude, stop running. Mm-hmm. Stop it.
Yeah, it's kill or be killed.
Yeah, and we're going to stop it. Like, we have to win this game. So, that's how. And that actually happened. The Falcons, there was some dirty hits on Cam Newton and whatnot, and it's tough to watch. Like, I hate it, but it's like that's what I was worried about, and it happened. And Lamar Jackson seems to be avoiding injury, but he's only played a few games. You don't want your quarterback doing that. So it's more about, and this has actually been statistically proven, it's more about the way the quarterback plays than the size. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing that correlated with size and injury, or maybe not even size and play. Because like you said, there's been a small sample size with the short quarterbacks. There's not too many of them, so we can't say for sure. But as far as injuries, there's been nothing to correlate that bigger quarterbacks get injured less. It's not the case. True. It's gameplay. Yeah. You playing like Lamar Jackson or RG3 is a good example. I think the best example is Michael Vick, who got hurt a lot because of how he played. Yeah. Versus Russell Wilson, who is like somewhat of a magician.
He doesn't take,
He is so smart. Like, he's just fast enough to avoid most like defensive ends and stuff, but not like lightning. Not like lightning fast, not like a track star necessarily. But he avoids the hits. He runs just fast enough to avoid the big hit, and he slides, and like he knows how to play.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it is also just being able to get the ball out of your hand fast. Like here's an example that pops into my mind. He's not really a mobile guy, but Brady, he doesn't hold on to that ball longer than maybe 2.5, 3 seconds. He catches it, he'll find a guy, the ball's out of his hand. And that's why I think he's able to play until he's 41. He wants to play until he's 45. And I think that's why, because he doesn't take any shots. You never see Brady get hit like that.
Yeah, Brady, I pay a lot of attention to the plays that you're not talking about. Like, that's usually how it goes, gets the ball out fast. But the times he doesn't, it's rare. Because he's usually getting the ball out super fast. Probably seems gets the ball out the fastest out of any quarterback. That's what it seems like, just with my eyes. When he doesn't, he has great pocket presence. The small movements he does is great. He steps up into the pocket. And I like that with now Andrew Luck becoming more of a pocket passer. Not that he wasn't, but he had to he had to scramble because it was like he had to do a lot. Kind of like Russell Wilson a couple years ago, he had to do everything. That's how Andrew Luck was. He had to run around. He had to take hits. He had to run. He had to scramble. It was now he can step up because he's got that interior O-line. And that's proven to be very effective now, is having that interior O-line for quarterbacks to step up in the pocket and make sudden movements. Because when they got Tom Brady, like when there's like a when there's like a good pass rush, he's done. Like he cannot move out the way. Like those little moves, they can't do it against like someone who's like something like he can't avoid it like Russell Wilson can. So yeah, and what's Braves Couch Ninja say? They don't need to get Bell. Stay away from that cancer in a young locker room. Find one in the draft and build on it. That's true too. I think it's too much. Bell's too much money.
Too much baggage.
The beard looking extra itchy today, Couch. No, it's not. His beard's looking just fine. I bought some new oils. We're gonna take care of it. We're gonna end it on that note. By the way, guys, you guys know me, Hussein the Brain, and we're here with Grant Caraway. Make sure you guys check him out. His Instagram is @FirstDownTraining. What else you want to shout out? Your website or your Twitter? Where can they check you out? Let them know what's up.
Yeah, check me out. My website's firstdowntraining.com, and then check me out on Twitter @downtraining, and check out my YouTube channel. Just started it. First Down Training as well.
Yeah, I highly suggest you guys check out his Instagram. It's pretty cool. Again, that's First Down Training. You could just Google it too. You pop up all your social media and whatnot pops up. So check them out, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel and the second one, Fantasy Couch Podcast and Fantasy Couch. You can check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, just about everywhere. CouchCast. Peace out, guys.